Everyone, I just turned on the microphone. So the images are taking a little bit uh, longer to download tonight. I'm not sure why. Maybe there's some interference with the Wi-Fi. Um, but the last few pictures have been taking a little bit. So the good news is I think we've got a pretty clear night, which is good. Um, can already start. I mean, I can already see the outer edges of the spiral arms, and it's just like 5 minutes of exposure, 15 15-second subframes, which is not bad. I think so. I just collimated my telescope the last couple of nights. I saw Queeve the Lazy Geeks video on Tribuckton of Maskas, and yeah, I 3D printed mine, and it worked pretty well. I think the stars are a lot rounder because of it. So that was a good video. If you haven't seen it, check out Queeve's channel. I don't know him personally, but hey, it helped. Let's see if we can start getting some more images going here. Next batch is almost downloaded. Is anybody watching? Have you guys do astrophotography as well? If so, feel free to chime in. Let me know if you've ever captured NGC 2903 before. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put in a little batch, probably about another couple minutes here. Exposures. You'll see the image counter going up. So we got 27, 28, 29, 30. And I'm using like Serial, and the live stacking has the option for you're using a master flat and a master dark. I'm just using one flat and one dark that I took today because I haven't stacked the flats from today yet. But it looks like it's calibrating out pretty well. I mean, it's a little bit more noisy than it maybe should be, but it's only 7 minutes of exposure, 8 minutes. So Okay, let's see if I can get another batch of images to come in. So, fun fact, in Ecos and K-stars, you can, you can save your image like sequences, and you can have it automatically put the target in. And I accidentally put in M101, which is the next thing we'll be shooting tonight, and I put that in, and all my image names now are M101, even though it's NGC 2903. So let's go ahead and get another batch downloaded in here. Yeah, it's a nice clear night. Kind of lucky. Yeah, feel free to ask any questions in the chat you might have. Yeah, we're at 34 images, 8-minute stacked. I've got more on the Raspberry Pi itself, but it just takes a little bit to get all the images off of the Pi. Just double check that. Yeah, we've been correctly. What's guiding like? Guiding is not too bad. Ecos is saying that we're at 0.92. PhD2 is at 0.81. So let's see, but that could be because about 0.81. Not too bad. I think 15-second exposures are fine with that kind of guiding. I think if we were doing longer exposures, we would have problems. So yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to keep up with how fast the images are being taken. That's okay. So we're at 10 minutes now. Maybe my internet will get faster or the Wi-Fi will get faster. Sometimes it happens. Yeah, stars look nice and round. Okay. Another minute of exposures in. And then in about 10 minutes, we'll probably head over to M101. I've got like, I don't know, I want to say about 5 or 6 hours on NGC 2903 already. M101, I've got a lot more time on. I don't know about a lot more time, probably about the same. But NGC 2903, it's kind of limited because it goes behind my house and I can't you know, see it after a certain amount of time. Otherwise, I'd probably stick with it for a little bit longer. Downloading another batch of 15-second images from the Pi. Check the schedule over here, what I put the settings in. Yeah, it's gonna go to about for another 10 more minutes. And then it's gonna automatically switch to the Pinwheel Galaxy. So if you're just joining, we're looking at NGC 2903, and in about 10 minutes, we're gonna head out over to MSCA 101. Yep. Got a nice guide star, which is good. I'm using off-axis guider just because it's a Celestron C8. And yeah, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I just went to go get a drink. Let's put in a couple more images, see if the image improves a little bit. Yeah, it's getting a little bit brighter. Yeah, just put a pull up just to see if you do astrophotography yourself. Now, there are a couple people watching, so got one yes. So far. Anybody else do it? I think as long as you're subscribed, you should be able to vote. And voting's anonymous, so it's not like I can see who says what. So yeah, we got a couple more minutes of images coming in. Still one vote. Yeah, don't be shy. Tell me whether you do astrophotography. Okay, let's see what's going on in ECOS on the Raspberry Pi. Should soon start to head over to M101. Yep, it's going over there now. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a couple more images from NGC 2903 into the stack so we can see kind of what it looks like with about 15 minutes of exposure, and then I will set it up to look at M101. And in terms of like galaxies, like what is your favorite galaxy? I mean, it's galaxy season right now. I like NGC 2903. I think it's really cool looking galaxy. There is a what's it called? Vacuum cleaner galaxy. I think that one's like one of my favorites. It's got like a, I don't know, it's M109. It's got a nice bar in the middle that you can really see well, even in a small scope. Like if you're doing astrophotography with a small scope, you can really see it nice and pretty well. Okay, let's see here. See, is it capturing? It is, says it's capturing, so it's moved to M101. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off serial for a second, and then we'll go to M101. I'll pause, I'll stop the stacking. And then you'll see it in a second. Give me a couple of minutes to get everything ready. And just get rid of all of the extraneous stacking files that Serial makes when it's live stacking. And we go ahead and check to make sure everything looks good. Yeah, it looks good. Okay, I'll start bringing those files over. Okay, so right now it's still got NGC 2903 up. But I'm going to start bringing in pictures of M101. Give me 1 second. Okay. It looks like, I mean, it looks like we got 3 or 4 viewers here. It's nice. It's nice to have viewers. Let me know how you're doing. If you're doing good, go ahead and put it in the comments. If you're not doing good, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's taken a bit for all these files to download. Hopefully we'll have M101 up soon. M101 is a lot fainter, I think. Like the surface brightness is spread out a little bit more. So it might take a few more images than just like 10 or 15 minutes to actually see some detail in it. But we'll see. I mean, who knows? I said this earlier. I've got about, and I've taken pictures of M101 before, but just never with a Celestron C8, which is quite a quite a very like long focal length, and usually I would take about 2-minute exposures, given my location with we've got a lot of light pollution and stuff. So even with a shorter length focal like let me start over. With a shorter focal length, I would still, um, I'd be able to take longer exposures, get a little more signal to noise in each subframe. But of course, with a C8, I've only got like a HEQ5 or Orion Sirius mount, and so it's not quite good enough in terms of its tracking capabilities at like 2000 millimeter focal length to do 2-minute exposures without having really significant star trailing. And so I've just been taking 15-second exposures, and it's been working okay. If anybody else does some astrophotography, let me know in the poll. If you don't, that's fine. It's great if you don't. It's great if you do. I'm going to put some images in here. Okay, we're starting to stack them. Oh, we've got like a minute of exposure, and you can already kind of see a little bit of the detail there. Which is nice. So hopefully with a few more minutes, we'll be able to see the outer arms. You can like I'm using an ZWO. Oh gosh, I forgot. Is it a 294 mm? Yeah, ASI 294 mm Pro. So it's a monochrome camera. So we only get black and white, but I already have some RGB data with this, so I'll process it together to make a color image. And we got one vote. Or no. Yeah, I don't astrophotography is a little bit difficult to get into. I feel like it's hard, but it's fun once you get used to it. But it's getting used to it. It takes a little bit. Let's see, where are all my pictures? Refresh. Okay, here they are. Yeah, I was getting a little bit worried on my Raspberry Pi. I didn't see the newest pictures of M101 come in, so I was thinking that maybe something happened, but nope, everything's still working. Pretty well. Yeah. I've got a lot of frames from M101 from like 3 or 4 nights. I'm taking images. I think I'm at like 1100 or so about. So let's put a few more images in if we can. So it has stacked 8 images. We're at 2 minutes. If I were to do another stream again, what would you like to see? Like what object? would you like me to take a picture of it? Keep in mind I'm in the northern hemisphere, so there's no southern hemisphere objects. I mean, there's a lot of galaxies out right now. It's kind of galaxy season, but pretty soon, you know, the Milky Way is going to come back in a couple months, a month or two, starting in May, I think. You know, there'll be a lot of different objects going to take pictures of. Let's see, I put in about, there's 45 more seconds of exposure. And we're at a little under 3 minutes, 11 stacked images. So if I know I got one person said they don't do any astrophotography. If you ever do want to get into it, you know, what I would like my main recommendation would just like buy used equipment for, you know, for less money. Like that's what I did to get into the hobby. And I mean, most of my equipment I have is either used or I bought it like one piece at a time. Because you may find out that you don't like it as much as you thought you might, and like you can always sell it used for about as much as you bought it used, unless you just get a really bad deal. And so there are a couple of like websites that you can go on to. You go to like Astromart or Cloudy Nights. At least in the US you can. Probably other places too. So my internet has been acting kind of weird. I guess not internet, it's just the Wi-Fi. Like the Raspberry Pi is outside. The camera is connected to the Pi, and it's of course, you know, downloading images there, and I have to take the images from the Pi and upload them to my computer and then stack them. And so it takes a little bit to get them. And so it seems like it takes a little bit more time to download them than to take them. So I'm always behind in the pictures. But we'll see how many pictures we can get tonight and see how sharp we can make, or how much detail we can get out of M101. So there is a, I don't know if you can see it on the screen. There is like a noise. You can see the noise right now is at 22.4. It's right underneath the live stacking view next to Ecos. Let me put it on the guiding so you can see the guiding too. But yeah, so the lower the noise gets, you know, the better the image is going to be. After a while, we're going to hit diminishing returns, where like we can put in like 100 more images and the noise is only going to go down just a little bit, which means the image isn't going to get as good as it what, like the improvement's not going to be as much. So we've got a question. I thought about getting into it. What software do you use? Okay, so yeah, so the software I use is Ecos, K-Stars. You can run it on a Raspberry Pi or any computer with Linux. I think you can even use it on Windows, but I'm not sure that you can control things directly with Windows. So to control the mount and everything, I use, you know, Ecos, which is free, which is nice. And then For all of my processing that I do, so like I have to take all the images and calibrate them and uh, try to remove like some of the dust spots that might be on the image. I use Serial, which is what you see up on the screen now in the live stacking view. Serial is live stacking the images as we speak. I won't use this image in a final processing, but Serial is free, and I use GIMP, and GIMP is free, and both of, like I try to keep things free. I mean that's my motto: keep things as cheap as possible, um, because the hobby is expensive, and I don't feel like I've already invested so much money in the equipment. Like I want to save money where I can. I know there are other people who are like, oh, I've invested so much money in the equipment. It's okay to spend, you know, so much money on a paid piece of software. That's fine. Like do what you want to do, right? So but there are a lot of free options out there. For stuff. And you can get started pretty cheaply. I mean, like if you have like a DSLR or even a cell phone, you know, just find a good deal somewhere and start taking pictures of the moon. You know, you can get really good pictures of the moon with just a cell phone and a cheap telescope. Got a squeaky chair. So I'm so disappointed though that Raspberry Pis are so expensive right now. Like it should be like a $40 computer. And I got mine. I started with a Raspberry Pi 3 with Ecos and K-Stars, and it just didn't seem like it had enough power, and the Raspberry Pi 4 did. Um, you know, just to run the mount and everything. Yeah, check out Amazon can have some good things. Like check out Cloudy Nights. They have a classified section. Just look for, you know, like I would recommend getting a nice wide field setup. Like there are a lot of videos on YouTube about it, you know, like of just like um yeah, you can use a laptop. Um you can use a laptop. I'm not sure about Ecos, whether or not you can connect your equipment directly to like a PC, like a Windows PC. It might have to be Linux, but don't quote me on that. Just double check that. If it is like a laptop, Nina is a great free alternative too that I've heard a lot of good things about. And yeah, Nina is great. I mean, there's a lot of I think there's a little bit more of a maybe a little bit more of a learning curve with Nina because everything is so like there are just a lot of plugins that you can use and it makes things a little bit decentralized, whereas Ecos things, you know, like it's all kind of like one group of developers and they're all kind of trying to make it one integrated system. But either one I think should be fine. I mean, I've used K-Stars for a while there and it's got some things that bug me about it. But like for the most part, like it just works. And if it doesn't work, then it's probably like me not understanding how things work. So So an example of that would be like autofocus. So you can get a focuser for your telescope and have the software control the focuser, and it'll like go into steps and like say, okay, um, you know, let's take a picture and see what the star, how big the stars are. Let's change the focus a little bit and see how that changes. And based on that, it can calculate where the optimum focus is. Um, yeah, Linux, open sourced in like Windows. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, but like with K stars, like I there's just some settings on there that I was messing up, which made it like hard to focus automatically, and it was kind of making me frustrated. But it was just because I didn't understand how the algorithm was doing things. I just need to change a couple of settings, and now it looks fine. Okay, let's see. We got 5 more images coming in, so another minute. I bet the noise will go down to about, I don't know, 18 and a half. Let's see. How, yeah, 18, 17. Oh, it went down a lot more than I thought. I don't know if you can see any improvement in the image, but I mean, to me, and it seems like with each small batch that's coming out, there's a lot more detail I can see in the spiral arms. Okay, let me go ahead and download another batch of files here. Trying to keep the downloads small so I can update it more frequently, but I get distracted. So Tom, have you looked at like any channels to figure out, you know, what you want with astrophotography? And feel free not to answer if you don't want to, like it's fine. I mean, I guess the question I would be asking like myself like is what would I mean, I got into astrophotography because I wanted to take pictures of galaxies like this, right? I wanted to get kind of like really like zoomed in to a galaxy, get a lot of detail. Yeah, Astro Backyard. Yeah, you know, I've been following him for a while, and he really helped me get into it too. Um, like, I probably got into it about 6 or 7 years ago, and he was just starting out, and it was really cool, you know, to see how things how he's progressed, and yeah, he's got some good recommendations on like how to start out, what scopes to get, like kind of what cameras to get. Um, yeah, I like his channel. I like most astrophotography channels. I don't think there's one that I don't like. And there's always new ones, you know, always new people doing it. Okay, so I got another minute of exposure coming in. The noise is down to 16.2. I bet like we'll get down to about a noise level of 10. But already like we can see some good detail here. Hopefully the other like 1,000 images that I took of it will make a good image. And I'll process it, and I'll probably make a video about how I processed it as well, kind of like what I did with the other video with N51. And I'll do the same thing with NGC 2903. So yeah. I mean, the field of view for this one is almost perfect. Like with the just like how it works out with NGC. I mean, Messier 101 here, the pinwheel. Like I've got 2000 millimeter focal length, which is pretty zoomed in, and I've got like the ASI 294 camera, and its sensor size kind of just makes it all fit. It's so weird though how much all of that matters, like the sensor size and things like that. Okay, we've got a couple more images coming in. Should be stacking. Should be about, looks like our noise is about 15. Let's see if we can get that noise down to 10. If we get it down to 10, we'll be able to see like some of the fainter outer bands of the galaxy, I think. How's the guiding doing? 0.86. I mean, I can't complain with that about that. I mean, honestly, like my telescope is on my deck. Like it's if there's just a little bit of wind, it's gonna mess things up. So it's not too windy tonight. Here, let's see. Tom says I bought a cheap manually operated refractor a couple of years ago, but not knowing all of the cool technology you can use to stabilize exposure, etc. Yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot of people, I think, do that. Um, I when I was a kid, my parents found a telescope. It was like a nice a cheap refractor, but like you can still see a lot of cool things with it. Like pointing at the moon, you know, you'll see a lot of detail. And the moon, I mean, astrophotographers don't usually like. I mean, deep sky astrophotographers sometimes, you know, I don't know how to say this diplomatically, but like they'd rather it be a new moon than a full moon because the full moon is going to mess up their astro images. But I don't think I've met any astronomer or astrophotographer who like doesn't like just looking at the moon and the craters and things like that. And there are some really cool things you can do. If you have a big enough sky to look at, you just like take a picture of the moon every night and then line them up, and you can like make a GIF or a GIF, however you want to pronounce it. I don't have a preference, or like a little small video, and you can see how things, like how the shadow moves across the moon, as well as sometimes how the moon kind of wobbles in its orbit. I think if I had the sky to do that, like I don't have like the open up sky to do that, I'd probably do it. Yeah, a lot of people get into astrophotography. I mean, into astronomy. They get the cheaper telescopes, and then they move up. My whole process was like, I mean, I liked astronomy since I was a kid. I've had telescopes since I was kind of a kid. Um, And like when I got into astronomy, they weren't as, I mean, they didn't have cooled CCD cameras, or I mean, maybe they did, but they were like really expensive, or cooled CMOS cameras and stuff. So astrophotography, if you wanted to do it when I, like 20 years ago, you were probably using film, and you're probably guiding by eye, like we're just like looking in the like a guide scope and just manually pressing the buttons on your controller one way or the other to keep a guide star in the field, like in the same spot. And that's a lot of commitment. Things have come a long way, I think. Probably since 2000, the year 2000. I mean, I was too young then to really be into it, but like my first telescope was like just a refractor that my parents had got, I think, at a garage sale, or maybe my grandma had got it. And we took it out, looked at the moon, tried to look at stuff. It was really cool. And then when I got into like college, started making my own some of my own money. I bought a Dobsonian, an 8-inch Dob from Orion, and it was good. I mean, like I thought I would be able to see more with it, but then again, like where I was at wasn't like pristine either. Like, there's still light pollution and things like that. But I was able to look at M51 and 52, and they're like little smudges. When you could like see it for the first time, that's kind of like the coolest thing, I think. So see with your own eyes. And then one time I was at Bryce Canyon. Yeah. Yeah, doing it manually, you realize how hard it is to keep track of it. Yep. Yeah. It's nice to have a computer be able to do it. And it's easier for you, and it's better than you trying to do it yourself. I mean, you like make one little mistake and you ruined your picture. Whereas the computer is not going to like make those mistakes. Let's see. Oh, all right. We got an error in. I put something in the wrong file and I got an error in the wrong folder. I got an error from Cyril saying that I can't open it, so it stopped the stacking. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn that off for a second, and then I'm going to redo things. Give me 1 second, and you'll like. I think it'll be cool anyway. Let's see. So let me go ahead and redo things. So it's going to stack again, stack all the images that we have again, and then you'll see how it changes. So let me go ahead and start it, and then it's going to start from the beginning. So you can see how much improvement there's already been. Okay, so putting it back in there. Yep, here we go. Like stacking 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, things are getting better. Yeah, sometimes when you like when it's only updating a few images at a time, you don't see how much it changes. And we just saw how much things changed. So we've got a couple more votes. So we got 4 votes all together. 75% to astrophotography. Cool. Yeah, One thing too, like I thought astrophotography was expensive, like when I first got into it. Things since the pandemic started, everybody's just gotten into astrophotography, and like things are even more expensive. It's kind of it's kind of I don't know, sad. But everything's gotten a little bit more expensive the past couple of years. One thing I'm a little bit. Oh, what software is this? So I've got um, so what you're seeing stacking the images, that's Cyril. Cyril is the stacking software. And then underneath it is also, so underneath it you will see, let me just see if I can pull it up. You'll see like noise, last image processing time, etc. That's also Cyril. And then to the left of it, you'll see like all the guiding stuff. That's Ecos and K-stars. So, but it's glitching out right now for some reason. Let me see if I can restart K-stars for a second. Oh, it's better now. It was glitching. But yeah, K-stars Ecos runs on my Raspberry Pi. It's free. And so Cyril is free. Ecos is free. Okay, let's put in a couple more images. 15-second exposures. So we're about 12 minutes. And if you're just joining me, like me taking it, like all these pictures on my Raspberry Pi, like the camera is downloading it to the Raspberry Pi, and then I have to take it from the Raspberry Pi itself and move it over to my computer so it can stack, because the Raspberry Pi doesn't have enough, enough RAM or processing power to like do on any of this stuff. And so I'm not getting images as fast as I'm taking them, taking 15-second exposures, but I figured it'd be nice just like to show it. Yeah. You're welcome. You're welcome, Kyle. But you can see how like the image gets better over time. Sort of like with anything, any science or anything, like things get better over time the more data you collect. Kind of like anything. The more information you have, usually the better. Yeah, so I don't know, like the Wi-Fi sometimes is fast and sometimes it's slow. So it takes a few minutes to download the images, which is okay. And I'll process all these images and then make a video how I processed it and show all the final result. If you're just joining, earlier we were taking a picture of NGC 2903, which is also kind of like a nice brightish galaxy. See, since I use an ASI Air on my rigs, no drivers, it's just super easy to use. Yeah, yep. Yep. ASI Air is nice. A lot of the ZWO equipment is, I feel, really just easy to use, really consumer friendly in terms of like getting started with it. Okay, let's see. We got a few more, like another more minute of exposure in there. We're at like 12 in terms of the noise. Really see the outer, the outer arm is starting to pop out. I think it's really cool, like, to see things as it's happening. So for Galaxy season, what anybody who's doing astrophotography, what equipment are you using? Or are you guys just kind of waiting for the Milky Way to come back in to capture some nebula? Tell you what, this is the first time I'm using such a long focal length on anything, um, except for planets. Except for planets. Okay, we got another 45 seconds coming in. Let's see if I need to refocus at all. Let's see. Let's stop real quick and I'm going to refocus just in case. I'm sure the temperature has changed since I started. And I could go ahead and show that, I guess. Let me see if I can change the settings here. Make this bigger. And then go to the focus tab. I'll start the autofocus. Hopefully this will work. I mean, no guarantees with autofocus. Also probably, yeah, PhD2 is stopped. Just making sure it's picking up stars and not something else. Like hot pixels. Okay, so it's took one picture, it's moved the focus inward a little bit, and then took another picture and it saw that the stars have gotten a little bit bigger. And now it's done it again. And the stars seem like they've gotten smaller, so we might have a problem. We'll see what happens. We have to restart it. Oh, maybe it's fine. Sometimes it does that. I guess it was at such close focus and it wasn't moving out very much that there's just, sometimes the telescope jiggles a little bit, throws things off. So it's moving the focus, keeps moving the focus inward. The stars keep getting bigger. So it's fitting this curve to all these data points to figure out, where the focus needs to be. And I'll probably do this one more time. Just because sometimes, it's started almost at perfect focus. Sometimes I kind of want the whole curve, like the other side of the curve, to be shown into it. And so yeah. Let's see, I have my Red Cat 51 with 183 MC Pro imaging M101, and I have my Explore Scientific ED 152 with 294 mm for imaging MC1. Cool. Edge HD with Hyperstar and 294 MC Pro. The red cat is on my star tracker, the 2i, and the other scopes are on my EQ6R mount for mounts. Cool. That sounds like a great setup, a great couple of setups. So do you ever like try to image only one target with all of your setups and then like combine them somehow, or like do kind of interesting, I don't know, kind of like zooming in, like animations and things like that? Yeah. That's something I kind of like to do. Like I saw Astro Biscuit do that once, and you know, I think it was the M51, and that was really cool. That's a fun channel. Okay, I just put 45 seconds more of exposure in there. See, I have not, because I don't know how to combine them. Yeah, that's a problem with different, you know, different resolutions of the cameras and things like that. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Looks like we've got focus again. I mean, looks pretty good. Let's see here. So let's go ahead and start it up again. And then move this back down. Yeah, I saw that too. I thought it was, I like his videos. They're entertaining. Let's see. Guiding going. Oh, nice. New Zealand. That'd be a place I'd like to go do some astrophotography, I think. Yeah, always want to go down to the southern hemisphere. When in the US, so. Okay, we're capturing again, so we're good. Again, we added about 45 seconds more of exposure. What's the light pollution like in New Zealand? Is it, or where you're at? I guess it could be different places, right? So. Okay, there we go. Got the guiding back there. It's always, oh yeah, Auckland's terrible. Most other places, okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm on the east coast of the US. It's not very good almost anywhere you go, and it's just getting worse. You have lots of dark sky places around. Yeah, yeah. Same here. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Yeah, there needs to be like, I feel like more places with dark skies, you know, just you can like preserve them. because things are just getting bad. I mean, there's got to be like something people can do like to mitigate all the light pollution that's happening. Plymouth, pretty good, yeah. I live 10 minutes. Kyle says I live 10 minutes from the city limits of Philadelphia, Borough 8 or 9. Yeah, yeah. I live about probably an hour away from DC. So like light pollution is not as bad as it could be, but it's not great either. But then again, if we go like a drive an hour and a half away, like into West Virginia or something, and get to really dark skies. One time we did that. Went to a park and I went to go try and get really nice images in a dark sky, like a dark site, like the darkest place I've ever been, and it was it was like foggy the whole time, so it didn't turn out too well. It was sort of a bummer. Like I had that scope set up and things were, ready to go. And the fog rolled in and it just was not good. I mean, like it was so dark there that we could you could see the Milky Way really well. When the fog like let up a little bit, like it would it'd be foggy and then not foggy. I think it's because it's kind of up in West Virginia, kind of like in the mountains and stuff. So we're probably in like a cloud, like a lower level cloud or something. James says he's on the outskirts of a portal 4 or so. That's that's nice. That's not too bad. I'm probably in like six or 7. I used to be live somewhere else. It was no joke a 10. We were like 5 minutes from really big highway coming into a major city, and so there were just lights everywhere, and I couldn't take an RGB image for more than I don't know a couple of seconds with a DSLR without it like being blown out. So 6 or 7 is compared to 10 is a lot better, and I feel like it's like 10 is horrible. You get down to 7, you're like, oh my gosh, this is so good. And then if you get like from a 7 to a 4, it's like, oh, this is so much better than a 7. And then you get down to like a 2 or a 1, I don't know. It's just like it's amazing. So fun story. I was a couple years ago, we went down to the Chesapeake Bay, kind of in Maryland here. Let me read this real quick. When I lived in Auckland, I couldn't do anything either unless I traveled. Yeah, that's how it was with me too. Until like I finally was able to get I bought a used CCD camera with a couple of filters that came with it. Like one of them was an HA filter, and I could finally like do a little bit of astrophotography from my backyard there. Yeah. So back to the story. So we went down to the Chesapeake Bay in Maryland here, which is you get down into the reserve there, and it is probably like Bortle 2. And what we didn't realize was that like when you go down there, if you go at the wrong time, you're going to get stuck. And when I mean stuck, I mean like the tide is going to come up and you literally cannot drive out. Um, so we drove in low tide and we took, I got some nice, I took my DSLR and just a wider field lens and I put it on my Sirius mount and I just like tracked the image. And I spent like maybe like an hour there taking images and it was nice. And then like it's like, okay, it's time to go home. It's getting late. I don't have any place to stay here. And we were going out. I mean, like we were driving through like a couple of inches of water at least. In some places it was probably deeper. And it's just the tide coming in, coming over the roads. Like I guess the land there is sinking and the sea level is rising. And it's like right, and that whole area is just like right at sea level. It's maybe like a foot or two above sea level. So like, yeah. So if you ever want to go to like the Chesapeake Bay, like in the reserves there on that little peninsula, like in Maryland, make sure you plan it out. Like if you go in, make sure that you can get out, um, because you'll be driving through some water otherwise. Let's see. James says I can get World 2 about 5-minute drive from here. Oh wow, that's nice. We're looking at buying property out there soon. Yeah, that would be cool. You think you'll set up your own like observatory, like a permanent place? Do you maybe you already have one? But yeah, it was pretty scary. It was a little bit scary. It was next time we'll know, but next time we'll know. Okay, let's see. We've got 18 minutes here of exposure. Let's see if I can get some more images to pop up. Okay. Our noise is about down to 10. It's good. Yeah, I have to. At the moment, I'm running a C11 on EQ6R mount, and the proverbial dragging it all in and out every time I want to do something. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can imagine. Looking at 3-acre property so I can build something more permanent. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. Yeah, that's the dream. One day I hope to be able to do that too. Just have a nice, I don't know how I would design it, but maybe a roll off roof or something. That way I don't have to like worry about polar alignment and stuff. But I've got everything more or less automated now, like in terms of I set up the scope and then when I take off the scope, I just leave the imaging train intact so I don't have to like set up the camera each time. And then with the automatic focuser things are pretty easy. So but yeah, putting the C up every time is definitely a lot different than putting up my 80mm refractor. So I can't imagine a C11 having to take that out in and out all the time. I can buy kit domes from Australia, but still deciding on what I want to do. That's cool. Yeah. Do you so are they made in Australia then? Or I guess they would have to be, right? I guess shipping would be kind of crazy if they weren't. Um, just installed a CWO electronic autofocus last night. Been waiting for a clear night to calibrate it. Yeah, it's really nice. I had a I got mine a couple years back too, and it's a game changer. Like you don't have to worry about it anymore. Like the focus. Kyle says, heck, I set up 3 rigs and I have to break them all down when I'm done. I'm sitting right inside my back door because there are people waiting, walking by in cars driving by my tiny backyard. Shared driveway. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Three rigs every night. That's commitment. That's commitment. So James says, I'm not sure where they are made. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know either. But yeah, I think a dome is probably like a good choice. Is the dome would it be automated? So like could you like does it have motors on it that you could automate it? I guess it depends on the model. I'm always I'm mostly fully automated now, thanks to Nina. Yeah. Yeah, I heard a lot of good things about Nina. Nina's good. Let's see, I keep reading chat. Let's see, let me put in some more images. Figure out which images were taken tonight and put them in. So let's see. It's an option. Yeah. I keep thinking of Dylan O'Donnell's channel, right? Where he got his dome and then he upgraded it so it's automated, and it's a good setup there too. So, but it's definitely not the setup I would recommend for beginners. Yeah, right. I don't think I could. It just takes so long to learn each new piece of equipment. I feel like. Like every time I get a new piece of equipment, I spend like 1 or 2 nights figuring out how to use it. Next tone. Yep. Cool. I would prefer roll off, which can also be automated. I can fit more scopes in a roll off. Just my 2 cents. Yeah, that's a good point. Kyle, have you seen any of Nebula? Is that Nebula photos? What's the channel's name? Um, look it up. I think it's Nebula Photos, right? Yeah, with Nico Carver, where he goes to people's houses with different permanent setups and interviews them about their stuff. I think he went to a couple people who did that. They had the roll off roofs, and they've done that. I know Chuck's astrophotography. He had a friend that he had on one of his things too, where he went to his house and had a roll off roofing and a couple of scopes in there. That is also a consideration. Yeah, yeah. 2 pier system. Yep. Okay, so we're at 87 images stacked, 21 minutes of exposure. The noise is down to 9.85. I think we started a noise around, I don't know, 50, something like that. It's been getting a little bit slower in terms of signal to noise like improvement. So yes, I've seen his observatory interviews. I pretty much don't miss anything astro. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a lot of channels out there. Okay, let's see. Got 3 more images in. It's looking fantastic so far. Oh, thank you. Yeah. I'm really surprised that these 15-second exposures are doing so well. I wouldn't have figured that given how long the focal length is and how, you know, given the F ratio of a C8, the native, like there's no focal reducer on it or anything. And I think the shorter exposures keep things a little bit sharper, so things don't get blurry. So even if I've had a good enough mount that could track for like a couple of minutes, I feel like it would still be more blurry, just because of atmosphere and stuff. I just got a Daystar Quark chromosphere, basically copy Chuck's solar rig, but I just have not had the time to work on it on clear days. Work, yeah, work. Work is it's in the way of solar imaging. Yeah, I can do short exposures to different starboat. Yeah, that's yeah. Yes. Yeah, I'm really coming around to shorter exposures, to prevent starboat. I get it's harder with narrowband, I think, but you know. Yeah, solar astrophotography, solar imaging too. I really want to do that. It looks so cool, but I don't have the time, I don't think, the day to do it either. And then feels like a whole new set of things to learn. I'm dying to do solar. Yeah. Yeah. It's so cool. I mean, like when I was young and dumb, like I thought that I could like look through a telescope and see a star, like um and see what it's like. And then like you get there and you're like, oh, it's just a little bright spot. um yeah, obviously you can't do that really, but with solar imaging, we got it right there. We got a nice big star right here just for us to image. A good solar scope is also so expensive, yeah. Yeah. And it just keeps getting more expensive. Although there was one time, so I was at a university and they had it wasn't my university, but it was like they were doing like a star party type thing. And they had a nice big, I don't know what scope it was. It was before I got into things really, like it was when I was really young. Not really young, but like younger. Um, they had a good size scope and they looked at Betelgeuse with it, and you could see like the color of Betelgeuse really well. Like I feel like you could almost resolve that thing with their scope that they had. Um, I'm not. Maybe I'm just my memory is not correct on that, but it was, yeah. Let's see. Kyle says, I'm shooting 30 seconds right now with my Red Cat and Edge HD, but my narrowband setup is 300 seconds. Yeah, that's about what I do too. I've been doing about 300 seconds with narrowband, and then with the broadband, I've been looking at like 2 minutes. But I think now that I've done this and things are so like much clearer with the shorter exposures, I think I'm going to stick to shorter exposures even when I go back to like my wider the field setups. As long as I'm doing broadband, as long as I can get a good enough signal. James says we do have an expensive hobby. Yeah, yeah, it can get expensive, but a lot of hobbies can be really expensive too. Like if I mean, if you want to get into, I don't know, like jet skiing or whatever, you have to buy a jet ski. That's not, that can be a good chunk of change too. Or boating. There are a lot of expensive boats out there. Where do the people get the money? Yeah. Crossing hundreds of shorts takes forever to stack. Yeah, it does. It takes forever. Yeah, I'm gonna have over 1,000 images with this. I might have around, I don't know, I have around like 1,500 images over a few nights, maybe even more. So yeah. My favorite visual for stars was at the Aquanastra study, seeing Sirius A and B as separate stars. Yeah, big scope. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, double stars are nice to resolve. So yeah, they're pretty. Sometimes like when you have the two different colored stars together. Okay, let's see. So we've got 99 images. Yeah, the noise is starting to really decrease now. Like in terms of the improvement is decreasing in terms of the noise. It's not going as down as fast as it was. Yeah. One day I hope I can get out to like a Wardle 2 one place and really do some imaging. Let's see. We're at 100 images exactly. So let's see, how long have you been doing astrophotography? I've only been doing it seriously for about 6 months now. I've been doing it for about, I want to say I got into it about 2017-ish, maybe earlier, maybe 2016. So 6 or 7 years. But like when I started, I don't know. Like I started with really basic equipment, you know, like bought everything used, just, you know, bought a Sirius mount, the same mount I'm still using. And then I bought like um, you know, an Orion doublet 80 millimeter uh, refractor and just put on my DSLR on it. And then over the years, I've been slowly like accumulating more and more stuff. So then of course, I had to get a guide scope after that, and then eventually I got like a used CCD Starlight Express camera, which was really, and like I think Starlight Express makes really nice cameras. Um, but the sensor was really small. I mean, to give you how like I think I literally had that Starlight Express on my 80 millimeter refractor, which is 600 millimeter telescope, and the field of view was the same as as it is now with the you know, with my C8 and the ASI 294. So so it was definitely like a lot different experience when I first started out, and then um, yeah, then I got a new, you know, upgraded the camera eventually and stuff. So one cool thing about living in an urban area is that my neighbors or just people passing by see my scopes and are mesmerized. And since my scopes all have an ASI air, I can show them on the tablets. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, I like yeah, outreach is good. And then maybe they'll see that and they'll be like, okay, I know I gotta turn off my porch lights whenever the scope is up. So it's funny seeing you on live. I just watched your Zero Game video about 10 minutes before and subbed. Oh, nice. Good. Hopefully you liked that video. I mean, I don't have the best editing skills, um, but you know, I figured I would try it out. I'm currently using a QHY 268C one-shot color. Been thinking more about getting a mono. Yeah, yeah. I think there are pluses and minuses with both of them. You know, I'm sure you're aware. Like I wouldn't mind having a color camera too, just so like when I want to, I can just switch it out and be like, I just want to do one shot color tonight because I don't have to deal with the filters. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for watching that video. I mean, hopefully it wasn't too bad. Um, you know, I'm new to this editing video stuff, kind of like. So, but like I was thinking about like get some more images in. Let's see here. Okay, we've got just put 5 more in, so we're at 105. Let's see. Let's see. I learned a lot from that video, hence the sub. Oh, thanks. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, there's a lot that I wish I had known when I first started out, and a lot of tools, like free tools that are now available that weren't available when I first started out. Like Serial is pretty new, and like when I first started, it was just Deep Sky Stacker and GIMP is what I was using, and GIMP had just gone to being able to process 16-bit images. So before that, I was only able to process 8-bit images, and so when they came up with a new update, I was like, oh yeah, this is good. Because I could finally process images in GIMP. So problem with mono is that you also need filters, filter wheel, etc., etc. Yep. Yes, this is true. This is true. I don't think I would have gone the mono route had I not like got that Starlight Express CCD camera. And so it was like some guy was just selling it with a filter wheel and with like four filters, maybe like RGB and HA and a luminance filter. So I guess 5 filters altogether. And he was like selling it on cloudy nights for something ridiculous, like $700. And so I was like, I snatched it up because I was like, oh, this is a good deal. Because even, the filters and the filter wheel, just having all that in one package was worth it. Plus the camera at the time was probably like $1,200 new if you wanted to buy it new. But at that time, like the CMOS cameras were just coming out. So everybody wanted like a CMOS camera that had a bigger sensor and had like good results, like the 1600. Let's see, it's very expensive. Yeah. See, Kyle says, I just connected the dots. I just watched your vid about the sharpening tool. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for watching that. Hopefully it works. Like again, like I was like, where's the sharpening tool that's free for people? And like there's Blur Exterminator, and it's like it's for PixInsight, and you have to pay like $100 for it. And I'm sure it's worth every penny. Like I've seen the results, and it does really good work on it. But it's like, can I do this myself? And I wanted to see if I could. And so, yeah. So let's see. She's $700 is the price of a decent filter alone. Yeah, I don't think they were like the best filters, but at the same time, it was a set of filters that works good. So. See, I think we're getting to the point like it's downloading at a good enough pace that like we're catching up to where we're at. Let me check the guiding real quick. How's the guiding doing? 0.71. Oh, that's nice. When I first started out, I would never get 0.71 guiding. Like I don't know what it is. I thought it was like my mount was old, but like after a while of just getting better at doing polar alignment and things like that. I think things have just gotten better. Plus, like Ecos and K-Stars has a really good polar alignment tool that you can get pretty good results. See, I'm lucky to start. When I now use Nina Serial in Photoshop. I used GIMP for ages. Yeah, I still use GIMP. I like GIMP. I like Photoshop too, but I don't like the subscription. I just don't think I don't know. I guess it's always updating, which is nice. You always get the updates. But something just doesn't sit well with me with the fact that you don't own the software that you're paying for. But that, of course, that's just my opinion. Like, yeah. So like the sharpening tool, I was like, well, can I do this myself? Like I kind of know how to code a little bit. I know how to like understand. I mean, I don't understand neural networks like in terms of like everything about them, but like I understand how to like build them, and I understand how to kind of interpret them. I understand like at a pretty good level of what they're doing. And so I thought, can I just make a simple neural network and see if it can learn how to sharpen images? And I think it does an okay job. I'm still working on improving it. Still trying to improve it because it still needs improvement but I've been getting some good feedback from users. Got some people send me their images that they've sharpened on it, and it looks like it's sharpening the images. It's introducing some noise too, but sharpening kind of does that anyway. So got some good suggestions too some comments on YouTube of how to actually create the training data. So, let's see. For me, the game changer was getting the iPolar on the mount. Once I got that, my tracking got way better. We don't have a fancy startup polar line on. Yeah. Yeah, Southern Hemisphere, I guess that's the major downside is no Polaris. I'm very keen on AI, so very keen to try the tool. Yeah, it's downloadable on Windows. You can try it out, and I'll probably have like another version. I don't know if I'll ever have a non-beta version. I'm just gonna keep calling it a beta version till the end of time because like I don't know, like I feel like once I give a version to it, it's like, oh, this is final. I don't think I'll ever finish it. So but yeah. Yeah, I thought I'd create the tool and stuff. See how it worked. And it's just like it's just a basic like feed forward neural network. Like there's no like it's not a convolutional neural network or anything like that. Although I think I could make it a little bit more complex, which I'm working on kind of right now, is trying to like make it more complex to kind of simulate a convolutional neural network. I don't know. We'll see. I think the next version will have, so like the current version that I have right now, like basically has two models in it, like, and it's combining the models so it can kind of mitigate some of the noise that the first model put into it. So when like the first model that I create, I feel like it does a really good job at sharpening. Like I'm getting a lot of detail out of it, like little fuzzy nebula, like stringy nebula pieces really like come together with it. Like it just kind of works. But it sharpens everything. Like the noise, it just sharpens the noise really bad too. So you can have like a nice smooth area of a nebula, like the Orion Nebula that I have. This I feel like should be nice and smooth and wispy and stuff like that. And it just like I don't know, sharpens it so much that it just makes it all noisy. And so then I like again I trained it on data that had some noise in it as well, and it and I think that like that new model didn't know whether it is a sharpening tool or a denoising tool, so it kind of tries to do both. And so I don't know, just yeah. So I just decided to combine them because one is doing a good job at kind of like keeping the noise down while doing a little bit of sharpening, and the other is doing a good job at like sharpening things. And so if I just average the two together, then it kind of works. So, yeah, hopefully this new version will be able to mitigate that. So I got one comment on the updated version, and the person who commented was just basically like, "Hey, you should add noise to the, to all the images, not just the training images. So like the test images that you train that are used to like compare against, you should add noise to that. So that way it learns not to sharpen. I think the point was that the neural network learns not to sharpen the noise. And I think that's a really good idea. So I'll probably have in the next couple of weeks, I might have an update video of how I, how that works. And they're also like, you're probably using a Gaussian function, to blur the data and try using different functions to like simulate, I think, stars not being the right shape and stuff like that. Let's see, I think I will use the sharpening on my starless image as I'm processing when I add the stars back in. It may compensate for any noise created by the sharpener. I think I will use sharpening on my... Yeah, it might. It might. Yeah, I'm not sure how that will work. You have to email me, deepskydetail@gmail.com. Email me those results and see what. Let me know what happens. You don't have to, of course, but like, it might help. Any feedback is good. I mean, like, so what images have you taught the AI on? Just Hubble images. So yeah, I mean, like, I just take a Hubble image and I blurred it, and then I made some code that like extracted the pixels from, from each of the two images, and I trained it on the Hubble images. So, and I think that's the right way to do it, right? Like, you have a really nice image, you make it bad, and then have the AI learn how to make it good again. The wrong way to do it would be to like take your own image of M101 and then take Hubble's image of M101 and have it train to make your image look like M101, like Hubble's image. That would be the absolute worst way to do it, because then you would be making up data. Like, yeah, Hubble is a fantastic resource. Yeah, I agree. Probably need to use James Webb too. Although I'm a little bit afraid to use James Webb because it's got the different diffraction spikes. I don't want the AI to learn weird diffraction spikes. But then again, it might not matter. I don't know. I've also been thinking about using like, like the very large telescopes in Chile, and stuff like that. Yeah, spot on. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see here. Ooh, got lots of images. A lot of images that I thought I was catching up, but I'm looking now and I'm seeing that we have at least 128 images that I don't have stacked that have been taken tonight. So it's just taking so long to download them. Maybe do James Webb for narrowband. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. So if anybody sort of ever does their own astrophotography tool with AI, make sure that they're not training people's images on Hubble's images, because that would be bad. Yeah. So yeah, but I'm really interested, and I know like I'm probably never going to find out, but I'm interested in knowing like how Blur Exterminator works, because they've also incorporated the point and said who did Blur Exterminator? Is it, let me look this up. Pro, I think is the last name, is that right? But RC Astro, yeah, Russell Croman, that's it. Yeah, the details are really starting to pop. I'm really happy with it. I'm happy that they're starting to pop, and I hope they start to pop when I actually get all the rest of my data incorporated. So, like the other 1,000 images. let's see here. So we just have a few more images put in there. Yeah, but let's see. Can't wait to see the final image. Me too. Me too. Is anybody here on Astrobin? Oh, looks like I got some PhD is beeping at me. I guess the star mass changed or something. I don't know. But it's still guiding. So yeah, anybody on Astrobin? I had there was a couple years back, Astrobin had like crashed. And so the owner of Astrobin gave every single user a free account. And like they upgraded their account to a paid account because some people's data was lost. So to compensate, he just gave everybody, you know, an updated account for a year. And so I had that for a year. That's my Astrobin if anybody wants to take a look at some of the pack stuff I've done. It's not like not like the best, but there's one of the Milky Way image there. That's the image I took in Chesapeake Bay where it like almost got trapped. So early stuff on Instagram. Yeah, that's a good place too. I like the Instagram setup, you know, very visual. You know, you go on anybody's page and you can see nice pictures everywhere. Oh, the moon color one? Thank you. Yeah, that one was. Is that the eclipse? Was that from the eclipse that you're talking about? Yeah, that was one I did with the Starlight Express. You know, I feel like the Starlight Express. It's a great camera. Like, but yeah, that was taken back in 2019 during the lunar eclipse here in the U.S. And I just you know took pictures every couple minutes or so, and then I added them. You know, put them in a little mosaic or something. I don't know what to call it. It's not a mosaic, but like combined all the images to see the different phases. Yeah, the eclipse one. I think it's like my favorite too. I really like it. It's like just so cool. So yeah, let's see here. Yeah, so I've got like M101 here on my Astrobin channel, right? That was taking the Starlight Express. Like that's 825. That's what I used. And yeah, I think that was with the Orion 8. Oh, that was a GSO. I have an RC too. Let's see. I still have not imaged the moon or any of the planets. The planets are not very good here at the moment. Yeah. Yeah, not good here either. I got some good images of the planets this year with the C8. I think I zoomed in a little bit too far on it, and so it's a little bit noisier than it should be, but maybe I'll probably do a video of how I process that. Most people, I think, process it in like Registacks after they've done it in Auto Stacker. But I've got a way to do it in GIMP that I think gives almost similar results. And Registrax is really slow for me for whatever reason. I don't think it's been optimized for newer computers or something. I'm just not sure. Like to change the wavelets on it takes forever. So I've got to do a video on that sometime of how to process in GIMP. And it should be a similar processing in Photoshop. Like there shouldn't be that much difference. Have to like play with the wavelets a little bit. Yeah, I'll do that. It should be a fairly simple video to do. So just put a few more images in. We're up to 32 minutes of exposure time. I mean, I've got more than that now. Like I've got probably 2 hours from tonight. But it's just, I don't know, maybe not 2 hours, maybe 2 hours. I don't know. Yeah, maybe another 30 minutes or something. I forgot I'd also did NGC 2903. So I have a couple of planetary cams, but only ever used them for guiding. Yeah. That's a nice thing about planetary cams. They make good guide cameras. Yeah. I use my planetary cam for a guide camera. And then when I want to do planetary stuff on it, I just take it off and do planetary. But it's a lot different. James, you have a C11, right? So I feel like you would get a lot of good detail from that. Let's see. Yeah, C11 would be really good. Let's see. I saw on Twitter a couple of months back. There was a guy there doing, I think he had a C11 too. On Jupiter. Let's see. It was just amazing. Let's see. Let's see if I can find it. I don't know if I can find it. Maybe let's see. I may have liked the image. Maybe I can find it there. I don't know if I can. Off-axis slider, but battling to get it working. Yeah, off-axis sliders are. I had trouble with mine at first a lot too. It was hard to get the focus, and sometimes I feel like I felt like, oh, I have to like, I don't know, like I couldn't get enough inward focus for sometimes, and I had like, I think it was because I had my off-axis slider in front of the reducer. So once I moved it behind the reducer, then like it made focusing a lot easier. And this is like when I used it with either my RC or my refractor. You know, like I would accidentally put the off-axis slider in front because I was thinking, oh, if it's in front of the reducer, then it should have like a longer focal length and it should guide better. But it just makes focusing things a lot more difficult. Back focus drives me mad. Kyle says, I have not had much luck with planetary imaging. I don't think I was getting the back focus correct on my HD8. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard finding focus, especially were you using a Barlow with it? I mean, like when I was for a little bit there. I was trying to do planetary imaging with my RC, which is a mistake. I mean, it works okay. You can do it, but the images are a little bit softer, I think, because it's like a 6-inch RC, and so the secondary mirror obstruction is so big that it makes things a little bit soft. Let's see. But yeah, planetary imaging is hard to find the back focus, I think. You really have to, sometimes it's not what you would expect. So like with the RC, I feel like had, I don't know, like 6 inches of extenders on it just to get it to focus with the Barlow. Yeah, the Barlows make things hard. So you might need like more extenders than you think. Let's see. Currently using Red Cat as a guide scope. Back focus driving that, yeah. Took off my OAG yesterday. We'll try again in a couple of months. Yeah, I think the most important thing is to measure where the prism is on the OAG to the sensor on your main camera, and then see how far that is, and then measure where the sensor is. I mean, where the prism is, and where the sensor is on your guide camera, and like get calipers or something, just or even just a ruler, just to get in the ballpark, and like just check the guide camera where the sensor is, where you think it is. Like it could be like a couple of millimeters or maybe a centimeter behind the front of the where you're screwing it in, where the threads are, might be a little bit behind there. And usually like ZWO will have the specs on it, I think, where it'll tell you how far back the sensor is on the camera. And then you just add that into your calculations. As long as that distance between the prism and both sensors is roughly equal, you're going to be in the ballpark of focus for both. And then it's just a matter of, depending on what type of off-axis guider you have, it's just a matter of adding extensions or twisting it with the focuser. Yeah, calipers. Yeah, good. Yeah, so probably I already know this. Yeah, so let's see. I think M101 is coming in pretty nice, and I feel that the longer in focal length you go, like the less of an effect light pollution has on things. I mean, it's always going to have an effect, but like the gradients aren't as big between like the bright spot and the dark spot. So I think everybody can see like the bottom of this image is a lot brighter than the top. I feel if there's like a wide field scope that would just be way enhanced. So yeah, that's gradients. Yeah, yeah. Sea Fox. Glad you could chat with us. Yeah. Yeah, that focus was a pain when I first started off-axis guider stuff. It was didn't know how to do it. Thought everything was just messed up. Um, didn't know which way the prism was supposed to go. Yeah, good times. Took mine out just after full moon and couldn't believe how bad the moon noise was on the C11. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense too. Full moons. Yeah. Yeah, C11 is it's a big mirror. So I bet it's catching all that light too. Yeah, compared to the Skywatcher 72 ED. Yeah. Yeah, so maybe the mirror, the aperture size has something to do with it too. I don't know. Yeah, I was also imaging near the moon last week, probably both MO1 and GC 2903. And I don't know what it was. I feel like maybe it was the moon reflecting off of, like, giving some bad internal reflections or something, because it felt like my collimation was way off. Like, um, but it could have just been some internal reflections from the moon. Glad to have discovered your channel just the other day. Fascinated and getting maximum detail using like imaging techniques. Oh, thanks. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just trying it out. I mean, like, I mean, this is like, I've never done like such short exposures before. I've been doing like astrophotography for probably 6 or 7 years. But like I wanted to use my C8 on some galaxies, and my mount isn't good enough for that to do longer exposures. So I thought, hey, let's do 15-second exposures, and hopefully it works. I mean, it seems like it's working fine. Kyle says my HD8 is done with a Leo triplet, 4 hours of data. And that now off to Macarian's chain hyperstar imaging is pretty cool. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. Yeah, one day maybe I'll get a hyperstar for the C8, but mine's an old C8, so it doesn't have the same connections, I think. So I would have to, I think I'd have to buy an adapter for the hyperstar, or just get a Rasa or something. I don't know. But maybe one day, I don't know. We'll see. But I'm having fun with the C8. I mean, I bought it mostly for planetary imaging, and the mount was just so bad. The original mount on it, like, so I took it off and I put a dovetail on it and put it on my EQ mount, and it works well. And I, like I said earlier, I saw Queeve the Lazy Geeks video on the Tribatanoff mask, and it's like, I got to try this. And I think that collimation's never been better. I have to try it on my Richie creation too, because I think you can use it on RC telescopes. You just have to kind of line up the triangle with the screws on the primary mirror, and then adjust the primary mirror after you've adjusted the secondary. That's what I've read. Yeah, the Leo triplet and Macarian's chain are some of the coolest stuff. Like, yeah, it's amazing. Um, I'm wondering if using your model on FFT domain images could offer another level of interesting filtration. So you're saying fast Fourier transformation? That the question? I just want to make sure I'm understanding the question correctly. So like transfer using a Fourier transformation and then doing it. Yeah. I've thought about that too. I actually tried it. I tried it, and it didn't work out too well. And I think because like when you do a Fourier transformation, like you lose a lot of the spatial information from the image. So you're like, so I was thinking, well, what about like wavelets? Like a wavelets is just like a Fourier transformation, but like in the spatial domain kind of thing. It's like kind of like a mix between the two. And so um, maybe I'll try that. Yeah, use Fourier transformation to remove spider spikes. Yeah, yeah. Have you done? Let's see. I have a short meeting in a bit. We'll be back if you're here in half an hour. Okay. Yeah, I'll probably be. I might be here. I might not be. I got work tomorrow, but it depends. I might be here in a half an hour, but no promises. Thanks, James. So good luck with your meeting. Yeah. Fourier transformation to remove the spider spikes. Yeah. It might be a good idea. Although I was playing around with it a little bit, how to, how it can change the spider, like whether I could do that. Yeah, because I mean, I guess like right, CFox, like when you're doing deconvolution, like if you have an image and you have the point spread function for the image, you can do the Fourier transformation on both the point spread function and then the original image, if I understand this correctly, and then divide the image by the point spread function in the Fourier domain, and then redo it, and you should get like a sharpened image out of it. So yeah, like I feel like there's something that the Fourier transformation could do that would help improve things. I feel like that's kind of what Blur Exterminator is getting at too, like using a point spread function and something like that. It's a tricky concept not to remove actual image structure in the process. Yeah, and it's a definitely tricky when there's noise, just a little bit of noise, and you try and do the process I just said, and you get an image that's worse than the original. So yeah, let's see here. I guess there's ways of correcting for that though. Let me go ahead and oh yeah, it stopped. Yeah, I had it stopping at 11:59 because that's when I was going to stop. I can go for a few more minutes and redo stuff. It says it's parked. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Yeah, let me restart things. And then 1 second. Oh, I don't want to go there. I want to go to M101. So Meridian flip. No, I had it stopping at 11:59 because I was going to stop the stream then. But I'll go for a little bit longer. Maybe for about 45 more minutes and see what happens. Okay, let me just refocus. I need to refocus anyway. It's been probably about an hour since I focused. Yeah, with a Fourier transformation, I added some for some of the images. I did, play around with it. I just couldn't get good results with the way that I was doing it. Maybe if I used a more complex neural network, it would have worked. I don't know. Might be able to show some of that. Maybe I can. We'll see. Give me 1 second. And maybe I can find some results to show you. Yeah, here we go. Give me 1 second. No. Let's see. Okay, so what I've got up here are the results from, this is GIMP, from the Fourier. So what I did was I trained it on the Fourier transformation of the images. And then I tried to untransform them back to the original images. And I got like, this is M52, so Orion Nebula. You can see like it's kind of thinking like it's kind of doing something, but I just wasn't getting good results, and I'm probably just like not doing it correctly. So, or maybe I need a more complex way of doing things or more inputs or something. But it's just after like training, it just wasn't getting there. Like it just couldn't figure it out, and that could just be limitation from me not knowing how to do it. So okay, so there's that. Let's see here. So we're in focus now. Let's go back to M101 to keep shooting. So I've got some more images that I've downloaded, putting in here. About 8 more images, so 2 more minutes of data. And you can see it's stacking. Yeah. So I mean, so CFox, I've been trying with a Fourier transformation, maybe even like different. There may be ways to combine like the Fourier transformation information into the network in a way that would be reasonable, that would help the network out. Um, so I have to check that. Yeah, linear image being crushed. Um, that could be it. That could be it. Yeah, I just don't know. I just know what it's doing. I don't know what it's doing. I think anybody who says they kind of understand what their neural network is doing, um, I don't know if I would believe them 100% because sometimes these neural networks are just so complicated. It's hard to know what any portion of it's doing unless you go section by section. And in the ecos pane here, you can see my mouse in the ecos a little bit. This is just one 15-second exposure. And then the top stack view is about, I don't know, about 40 minutes of exposure. So you can see how the signal to noise is increasing. It's not too bad. I'm going to put it on the guiding so we can check the guiding out. Oh, 0.62, not too bad. Yeah, thanks, CFox. Are you guys getting any buffering in the video? Like is it getting spotty or anything? Like YouTube is telling me that um, there may be some buffering going on. Okay, good. Good. I'll be right back. Give me a couple of minutes. Okay, I'm back. Got about 5 more images to put into the stacking. It'll be about 41 minutes or something like that. 40 minutes. So, how's everybody's weeks going? Tomorrow's Friday. It's always nice when it's a Friday. I don't think I will have very good weather tomorrow night. It's going to be cloudy. It's been a pretty bad winter, all said and done. Not a lot of um, not a lot of imaging time. Cloudy, rainy. Spring's been a little bit better. This is just a luminance filter on it. So just luminance filter on a monochrome camera. I'm in a Bortle 6 or 7 sky, so yeah. I do have like a couple of light pollution filters, and I don't know, they'll probably work okay. It might be better with it, but with 15-second exposures, I was a little bit worried that we wouldn't get any signal at all. Especially with a Galaxy, I didn't think it would help too much. Thanks, thank you. I think it's looking pretty good too. Hopefully, like, I won't process it to death and make it look horrible. That sometimes happens. I feel like it's always good to like process it twice, like do it once, and then make all your mistakes, and then process it another time and try and make it better. I feel like that's what I end up doing most of the time. Like the first go around is just to see how much I can like stretch the data and get stuff out of it, and then like after that it's just it's like, oh, I stretched it too much. Didn't process it well enough. Time to start over. I've been trying to do NGC 2903 with this setup too, and I already have a few hours of data with that. I mean, a couple hours of data. Of course, I'm in a Bortle 7-ish. Depends on, and like when I was imaging it, it probably wasn't the best conditions either. Kind of like low-level clouds and things like that. Presumably no flats. Yeah, so the live stacking can use a master flat. And I could have put in like a master flat for this, but I just have one flat. So it's one flat I took tonight before the imaging session. So without it, it would probably be even worse, but you can still see like there are donuts that aren't calibrating out and they're still vignetting. So, but I feel like the one flat still helps compared to just nothing. But I don't know, like, this is really the first time I've used the C8 to do deep sky stuff, and I've been having trouble having the flats calibrate out, and it could be because my flats are too short. They're like less than a second, but I don't have a way to change that like right now because I've already taken all the flats from the previous sessions. Either that or there is a little bit of like mirror flop, and so as it tracks throughout the night, the mirror shifts a little bit, and so some of the dust specks don't fully calibrate out, and then like it changes the vignetting a little bit. I'm not sure which one it is. I had a lot of trouble with my RC with broadband. So it was a GSO RC 6-inch, and apparently there's a tube in the middle. The secondary, there's baffling around the side, and there's a tube in the middle where the secondary focuses the light into to go through into the camera sensor. And apparently that tube isn't long enough, and it any light from the sides can get in and mess up. Like it can have like internal reflections and things like that. And so I found, on YouTube that there's a fix. You can 3D print a little part to stick into it, and it makes the tube inside longer. Yeah, light cone problem. Yep. Hey, James, welcome back. So, yeah, light cone problems. So I 3D printed it, and I think it's working better. Like with narrowband, it wasn't as much of a problem because like the light just gets filtered out from the sides. But with broadband, it was like I would take my flats and then I would put them into the, I would stack everything, and I would have like a huge circle in the middle of the image, and it's like, oh, I guess I'm cropping out half of the image. Pouring with rain here, New Zealand. Yeah. Maybe it'll be clear tonight. Maybe the rain will stop. So we're supposed to get rain tomorrow, so tomorrow night there'll be no imaging here. Ooh. So we may have clear skies tomorrow, but not holding my breath. Yeah. We are in the rainy season now. Yeah, that's always tough. Yeah, this whole winter was fairly rainy for me. I don't think I got too much imaging done. Like I tried getting, there was that comet that came. I got some good images of it, but not as long as I would like, because it was just like I would take pictures and the clouds would come in like 30 minutes later. And so I'd have some luminance data and R data and some G data, but I didn't have any B, any from the blue filter. We'll be trying some solar over the weekend and based in the UK. Okay, cool. Hi to the UK. Yeah, solar imaging sounds fun. I've never done it, but it sounds really cool. We were talking about that earlier. So let me move another set of images in. Ooh. Still have yet to process my green comet data. Yeah, I do that too sometimes. I take pictures and it takes me forever to get to processing them. Yeah. I think I still have some green comet data to process too. I've got one good picture, but I've got some from another night that I still need to process. Yeah. I mean, I just remember like, yeah, when was the comet? Like January, February, something, a couple months back. And I was out there and it was like the new moon, so it was perfect time. And maybe it was December, maybe it was like end of December, early January, and like had it all set up. It was like 2 a.m. It's like I'm gonna get a picture of this comet because it was so low in the horizon at that time that I couldn't image it well enough through all the light pollution. And I finally got high enough. I got about like 30 minutes of imaging on it, and the clouds came in. I like work the next day. It was fun times. All right, we got another 5 images. So yeah, I'm not seeing much. The noise isn't going down as much anymore. So I think we're getting ever diminishing returns. I'll probably do one more batch of one more download, and then I'll probably end the stream. So gotta get up and go to work tomorrow. And I haven't been getting much sleep this week because it's been clear almost every night. So was spoiled. Yeah, was spoiled with the Neo Wise. Yeah, yeah. I got some nice pictures of that with just a camera lens. It was really cool. Neo Wise that thing was bright. Just knocked off work for the weekend. Good. Yeah, it's Friday there, huh? I still have Friday to go. So 4:25 on Friday here. Yeah, nice. Yeah. Hope you have a good weekend. Okay, let's do the last batch and we'll see how good we can get it. Okay, here it's coming in. All right, we've got 47 minutes of stacked data and probably another hour and a half of data that couldn't get downloaded. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, you're welcome. Yep. Yeah. Have a good night's sleep. Yeah, thanks everyone. Thanks to Fox, James, and Kyle, and everyone. Hopefully we'll do this again soon, weather permitting. Might not be with a C8, might be with some narrowband or something. I don't know. Yeah. So thank you, everybody, and it's nice to meet everybody. And good night.